Hello everyone, my name is Diletta, I'm 32-year-old and I am neurodiverse. I understood that I was on the spectrum of autism 2 years ago by myself. Basically, I was at work and just noticed that my behavior and the way I was acting was completely diverse from the other colleagues. So I started questioning myself and understood that it was due to some genetic differences. So basically, what I did, I just wrote my behavior, that was the way I was thinking and acting, and then I made my own research, and everything was correspond to the autistic spectrum. So I got my formal diagnostic 1 year ago, and it just confirmed what I thought. So it wasn't a surprise for me. So today I would like to interact with therapists and whoever is dealing with people who are on the spectrum of autism. And what I want to say is that I'm very disappointed. Why? Because it looks like you have been trying to deal with the low functioning autism, but you don't have a clue about high functioning autism. On the DSM, we find a lot of things that are actually, can I say bullshit? Yeah, bullshit. So I would like to help you interact and deal better with people who are high functioning on the spectrum, and yeah, to improve your therapy and the way we respond to it. So, if you're dealing with neurodiversity, why your studio is not diverse? Why it's so boring with white walls and this, empty environment? It would be cool just to organize it in a way that makes somebody who is neurodiverse feel welcomed. So, your studio can be normal, can be conventional, because it makes us feel uncomfortable. We're crazy. We love diversity. So welcome us with diversity. So just mind the world, maybe make them colorful, or think about some painting, on some decoration, something that gives the sense of movement, and something that makes us understand that it's okay to be diverse. Also, you could like, we really love dressing up, and we love crazy makeup. Why we do that? Because this is the way we express our feelings, and it makes us see the world more colorful. So it would be cool if you welcome us and you just dress yourself up, or just like wear some weird makeup and invite us to do so. A lot of autistic people are artistic as well, so that would be a better start. Then when you deal with somebody who is high functioning, it doesn't mean that this person has difficulties interacting. So ask yourself, where is the difficulty? Why this person is here in my studio, what this person wants from me. So that's very important. The reason for which we're coming to you is not because there is something wrong with ourselves, but it's because we do struggle expressing our intelligence in the outside world. So it would be cool to study with us what it would be better for us. What are our potentials? Like, we don't want to be educated to understand your language, your way to communicate. I mean, it's not because you have been taught this way that is the only way to communicate. Maybe it would be cool to train other people to understand the joy of not having filters. How do you say, something helpful in the communication, because it makes it more straightforward. So you don't have to make useless effort to understand the other person. So in my opinion, what's important is to understand the autistic person and the struggles. Never mind what's written on the DSM. Just understand with your own brain the person you are welcoming, because being autistic doesn't mean having the same brain. It's like being neurotypical. You guys have different brains, so the same applies to us. So being autistic basically means that we are wired differently. And yeah, we do work differently from a neurological point of view. So let's understand this. Now, CBT, comportmental behavior therapy, doesn't work for us very well. I mean, I have been talking with a lot of people, and it didn't work for them. Why is that? Because it looks like you want to make us functioning in a dysfunctional society, and this is what we don't want. We don't want to be dysfunctional. We're like perfect the way we are. We just find it strange, the outside world, because the way it works, it's so confusing. But it's not confusing only for us, it's confusing for everybody. So, yeah, I think what you have to understand is the person you are dealing with and what you can do with this person. Are you the right therapist to help this person? Because you can make the person worse with your diagnostic. You have to be aware of that. So, first of all, see what are the struggles of the person who is coming to you. Second, see what are the potentials. So think how to develop in a different way the potential of the person. So yeah, what I struggle with is that I don't know how to apply my intelligence in the outside world. It feels like my intelligence doesn't find expression. So I do need to see and work on my potentials to understand how I can satisfy my intellectual interests. And maybe it's not easy for you to think out of the box, but what I think is that you can learn a lot from us, and we can learn also from you, but you should change attitude. You don't have to cure autism. Autism needs to be understood, and you have different levels. So when you're dealing with a high functioning autistic, you cannot talk to the person as if it was a child, because we are gonna think you're stupid. So it's not gonna be helpful. You know, we know you've been trying to do things in a certain way, but I would like to invite you to look at the situation from a different point of view. So, as I said, first of all, mind the environment. So, make the environment more pleasant for the autistic who is coming to you. Make it like more diverse. Then think about being diverse yourself. Start expressing your emotions differently to make us feel like we can trust you, and we are gonna be understood rather than being misinterpreted. Because what you guys do is you do apply filters to whatever it has been told to you, but this thing of applying filters doesn't apply everywhere. You have to understand when it's the case to apply filters and when it is not the case. So we know a bunch of things about autism and being neurodiverse. A lot of things are not correct, but we don't know anything about being neurotypical, because being neurotypical has been designed as something normal. But what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. So I would like to help you understand from my point of view how I see you. So, to me, neurotypicals, what they do, they filter everything, even though it's not necessary. And they apply to whatever the filter, they, how to say that, it's like they filter everything through malice. So, they always think bad in a way. And I don't know from where this comes, but it's quite annoying because the way they think make me see how they are, and this is what keeps me distant. I don't like the way they think. I don't like the way they're structured because I find it tiring. And yeah, I have to make efforts to understand their intentions, but it's not because I am disabled, but it's because they are always trying to hide what they want to say because they have interests behind. So that's why they filter everything. Now, sometimes having the ability of filtering can be good, but other times can make you very paranoid, and you have to understand when you're being paranoid, when your filters don't apply to the situation. So basically, what I'm criticizing is that you guys are always looking for a hidden meaning, even when there is no hidden meaning. So educate your mind to understand when it's the case and when it's not the case. Like, sometimes people say, oh, but being autistic shouldn't be used as an excuse. Well, guess what? If I say something, I'm not using an excuse, I'm telling the truth. If I don't want to say something, or if I don't want to do something, I will tell I don't want to do it. So I don't use excuses. Using excuses is it comes from the neurotypical world. You guys use excuses because maybe you don't feel like you don't wanna tell like something you don't wanna do because you don't wanna be considered rude. But me as autistic, I don't care. Like, if I don't wanna do something, I don't wanna do something, and I will tell it because I have to respect myself if I want the others to respect themselves. My goal is not to save the world, but it's to save myself from the world. So if I save myself from the world, then I can give the others an example. Life is much easier than what people think, and I think what complicates life is the misunderstanding of biology and of how a nervous system works. I mean, not autistic told to neurotypical how we see them, and I think this should be used as a way to think about it. So applying filters can be helpful in certain occasions, but it doesn't apply everywhere. So you have to understand when it's the case to stop filtering and just to get the information as it is. Then understand the autistic communication. So we are straightforward. We don't want to be nice. We don't care about being socially nice. This doesn't make us horrible people. We are just more direct. We are just more honest. We are just more sincere. And that's good, actually. That's not bad. I mean, if I am hurting somebody by telling the truth, it's not my problem because it wasn't my intention. And if the person got hurt, then this tells more about himself than me, because it means that I trigger something this person, and it's up to this person to work on his trigger. So the second thing that you should understand is that the communication with autistic people can be difficult because we have been raised in a system that it's not adapt to our intelligence, to our nervous system. So forcing an autistic person to fit in the system, it's a rape, it's a mental violence. So this brings us to develop a mechanism. This mechanism is called defense mechanism. what does that mean? This means that um, when we are in a social activity, we tend automatically, because it's a subconscious mechanism, we tend to defend ourselves because we think the other person see us differently and is gonna attack us. So we might make the conversation difficult if we don't like the person. So how to work with this? Actually, how I work with it, because I can notice when this mechanism activates in my mind, I understand how a neurotypical brain works. So I try to understand the logic of a neurotypical intelligence. This makes me understand why this person is acting the way he's acting, and when I understand this, I stop defending myself because I don't feel the aggression, and I do rationalize what the person is telling me. So the conversation goes better because this defense mechanism fails, and I am more rational when I understand the logic of the other person. So it would be cool if you could explain to autistic people the logic mechanism of a neurotypical brain that do not always make sense to us, because we do process reality from a completely different point of view and a completely different logic. It's like having a MacBook and a Windows. They are two different systems. They are not gonna work together. So it's the same with autistic and neurotypical. We are completely diverse and we process life in a completely different way. So we do have to understand each other, and to understand each other, we need to know the mechanism. So I think if we are going to be able to improve our communication, this would solve a lot of suffering. A lot. So, first of all, it has to be clear that we don't want to be forced in behaving how you want us to behave. We want to be accepted as we are, and we want you to explain to us why you're acting like this, because it doesn't make sense to us. Interaction. Many people think that we're not social. Wrong. I am autistic. I am very social. I love interacting. What I don't like in the interaction is stupidity. I mean, to interact, I have to have the interest to listen to what you have to say. And small talk is not really interest, it's garbage for my brain. So, interaction is important. We often choose isolation to protect ourselves, like not because we want to isolate, but because we see that we don't have anything to do with the average and with the majority of the world. So, to protect our sanity and our integrity, we just refuse any contact. As you can understand, this won't bring to anything positive. So, what you gotta do as therapist, what you have to think is how can we stimulate the interaction? So the interaction can be stimulated by creating a nice environment. So an environment where we can participate to like-minded activities like relaxing painting or creative writing, or I don't know, like any activity can be whatever, an activity that has to do with the creativity and expressing ourselves, and anything that can engage us um, in um, in a useful communication, like to grow up, which is not based on consumerism. What normal people do, they go to the pub, they drink alcohol. I don't see why I would go out to drink alcohol. So I'm not interested in it. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a smart way to spend my time. So if you want to help people who are on the spectrum and who are isolating themselves, first of all, understand that isolation is not a lack of interest in interaction. We're very interested in interacting. We are just said we cannot interact the way we want to interact. So we are not interested in lame conversation. Like you guys talk about to cover boredom, you engage yourself in activities without understanding why you're doing so, just because it's normal to do so. You don't question yourself a lot of things. We do question, so we do go very deep in details. So we do need a stimulating environment where we can take part in activities which are like stimulating for our brain, and yes, this would motivate us to interact more. Then so. Don't be judgmental. We don't want to be judged as weird. Try to make an effort to understand how we think. Now, there is a huge difference between the autistic brain and the neurotypical brain. We do process stuff through logic. You do process stuff through emotions. What does that mean? It means that compared to us, you do need another step before being able to rationalize your emotions. We do rationalize emotions straightforward. This is a mechanism that occurs by itself. It's just like the way our mind works. Now, the fact that we're able to rationalize our emotions, so to process our emotions through logic, doesn't mean that we don't feel emotions. We are very emotional. We do feel emotions so deep, with such a huge intensity, that you can't even understand how painful it is to hear you think that we don't have emotions. That's wrong. We have emotions. It's just the way we process them that it's more logical. I'll give you an example. My mother had pancreatic cancer, so I understand what pancreatic cancer is in terms of science. So I do know that it's death sentence. So my logic tells me that I have to help my mom to die peacefully. I don't have to help her fighting her sickness, because I don't see what's the reason of a worse battle, of a lost battle. There is no reason. I mean, the pancreatic cancer is a death sentence, so there is no point in fighting. So I just want her to apply for euthanasia. Where I am, euthanasia is not legal. I have been considered without heart by my siblings who are neurotypical, who put my mom suffering because they believed she could survive, which is dumb. She couldn't survive. She had pancreatic cancer. They obviously didn't understand what pancreatic cancer is in terms of science. They didn't have a clue. And they put her through a suffering that could have been avoided if they were able to rationalize their emotions. They have been cruel. It is cruel to oblige somebody to fight against a sickness that doesn't give you any possibility to keep on living. That's stupid. So if you're not capable to rationalize your emotions because it's too hard to understand, it hurts so much, then you should be aware that your lack of understanding through logic is gonna cause an amount huge, unbelievable suffering to somebody else because of your lack of understanding and your ignorance. I mean, that's not okay. You have to understand how to rationalize your emotions. So, to be honest, I don't feel emotionally handicapped. I do feel emotionally advanced because I do have the capability to observe and analyzing what's happening, and I have the ability to stop suffering through logic. My defense mechanism brings me to detach myself from emotions. That's a mechanism that you should be aware of, detachment from emotions. Detachment is not a bad thing. Detachment can be very useful if it's functional. And if detaching myself from a situation helps me dealing with my pain and helps me not causing pain to the other one just because of my feelings, and I want this person to survive despite she cannot survive, and I put her like through a lot of suffering, I'm sorry, but you have to understand how to detach yourself, and that's a good mechanism that works for me and helped me to overcome a lot of trauma. So that's not bad. So before criticizing me, try to understand what's the mechanism behind, and if it's smarter deciding to suffer emotionally because you cannot process rationally what's going on, or if it's the case to look at the other instead of judging he's processing stuff and see, oh, maybe I can learn from the other one if it's working better. So it's not because something is unknown to your brain that it's a mistake. I mean, that's okay. It worked like for me like pretty well. And I can bring you an example. All right, so I was talking to somebody related to my family. It was a man, okay, and at a certain point, he got very attracted to me, and he started having sexual thoughts that he tried to realize. Now, we're talking about somebody who is related to my family, so it's a family member, so it shouldn't have happened. In the moment this person tried to touch me sexually, it was a huge emotional pain. But thanks God, I do have the gift to observe the situation. So in that occasion, I was able to stop the person, so nothing bad happened. It was just the intention that caused this emotional problem, like this emotional pain, because even though I can understand he felt attracted to me, he should have understood it wasn't the case to express his attraction, because it just wasn't the case, you know. Now, as I was saying before, thanks God, I have this ability uh, of observing what's going on and why a person is acting the way he's acting. So I just could see the mechanism of his mind, and this helped me not to take what happened uh, bad from an emotional point of view. Like, I didn't feel guilty, or I didn't feel it was something wrong with me. I didn't feel it was my fault. I didn't feel ashamed. I didn't feel humiliated. I over I overcome the trauma like pretty well by myself. Why? Because I was able to see his mechanism. What happened is that we were evoking his sexual reminiscence. So this activated in him some mechanism that made him project in me his sexual desire, but it was just his mind playing trick, and he wasn't aware of this. So yeah, it didn't have anything to do with me. It was just the way his mind was not functioning right. So thanks to this ability to observe his mechanism and his logic, I have been able to keep going with my life, and this didn't ruin my sexual life. It was just amazing. So that's why I said explaining how the mechanism of somebody else's mind work can have magnificent effect. It's just like wonderful for me. It's the way I deal with my trauma and with my pain, you know, because it's an explanation I can follow, and I can process it from a rational point of view, which saved my ass from the side effect of the emotional intelligence, you know. So yeah, so I feel like doing a recap. So I have been talking about high functioning autism. So I have been talking about this, and how we are different from the low functioning autistic. So high functioning autism is more about how we process the information and how we think, which is different from the majority of people. So we don't want to be forced to learn how you behave in society, because we don't necessarily see it as something correct. We just want to be understood, and we want to be guided to understand our potentials and to work on them, because like this we can express our intelligence in the outside world, and this can be a treasure for other people. And yes, then I have been talking about detachment as a mechanism, protection that avoids me from experiencing unnecessary emotional pain. So the ability of processing logically my emotion, which is a gift. I shouldn't be seen as a lack of emotions, because that's wrong. And then the defense system that activates and basically might make hard the conversation with other people, because I automatically feel attacked before they even express themselves. But that's a prejudice that activated in my mind due to the fact that I have been forced to follow a neurotypical study system or whatever it's called, which wasn't adapt to my mind because the way I learn is very different. Oh yeah, I think I didn't talk about this, but the way autistic people learn is way different from neurotypical. So we do learn through experiment, we do learn through experience, we do learn through practical stuff. So we do learn in a pragmatic way. We do process stuff according to our logic. So we don't believe because you believe if it doesn't make sense to us. You know what I mean? So yeah, we have the ability of processing stuff independently, which is not wrong. I think this makes us less robotic. Neurotypical kids are different. The process stuff, they need to be taught things, otherwise they don't have the curiosity to question themselves about stuff as an autistic kid does. So we are just different. So they need to be taught. They need to follow some stuff, and they basically don't process stuff through logic, but they execute. It looks like they do repeat robotically things without asking themselves why they're doing what they are doing. So yeah, it looks like they don't have the ability of thinking and processing stuff differently, which it's not very good actually. I think this is one of the main problems of the world. But anyways, it is the way it is, and I don't want you to misunderstand me. Actually, I'm trying to improve the communication between the two nervous systems. So yeah, I'm not trying to be offensive at all. I'm just trying to be productive and make notice what can be the not the mistake, but the key point through which a neurotypical mind thinks or process reality that could be improved. You know what I mean? I think we can learn from each other if we admit what are the weaknesses of our intelligence. I guess I think it's quite smart to recognize the limit of our intelligence. So yeah. So anyways, yeah, I hope in the future they will make up like schools for high functioning autistic people, and maybe the way we learn will work also for neurotypical, but they didn't realize what we realized. It looks like in a way neurotypicals do feel bad, but they don't know why, because they don't have the ability to analyze what they struggle, like they feel in a way, but they don't know the mechanism behind. So maybe that's why they tend to repeat over and over the same mistakes. And I think it's also because they are short of idea, like they don't think out of the box. So that's an issue as well. That's why we should collaborate, and that's why we should listen to each other, because we really could improve how our society works, since we have a lot of ideas, but we don't know how to make them happen, because the way the world is organized is neurotypical. So for us it can be a little bit strange the way you have set up rules and stuff, so we might have difficulties. So why not collaborating together? So but you know, it has to be an honest collaboration. It doesn't have to be based on opportunism, or you know, we do dislike when something is dishonest. So yeah, I think most of people should learn that honesty is a powerful skill actually to improve our environment, and also to improve our brain, because if we have always to think uh, how not to get ripped off, or how not to get fucked or whatever, then it becomes pathological, and that's not good. It would be cool to develop an environment where we can explore our intelligence in a smart way. So I think it's really important we help each other in these. And yeah, autism is a genetic variation, so there is nothing to cure. But yeah, autism is screaming for understanding, and we would love really to express our intelligence. So you as therapists should help us how to do that in a way that it's not conventional. So maybe it would be cool to create university for autistic people and the way they learn, which is, like, as I said, very diverse. So this could be an idea, or it would be, as I said before, it would be cool to organize an environment where we do feel more motivated in the interaction. Because if I have to struggle when I talk to you, because you filter everything I said, and then you get offended, and then, we start this conversation where you get offended, and then I'm offended because you're offended and you misunderstood me. So it's just like useless. It's just a lame conversation. So let's improve our quality talk, I would say, and let's try to really understand how we work and how you guys work, because, as I said, we know a lot, and a lot of bullshit about being neurodiverse, but nobody wrote anything about the meaning of being neurotypical, which is not what you want to be. It's not your goal. It's just the way the mind of the majority of people works, which it doesn't mean being right. It just means that you guys have in common some structural patterns that make stuff work the way you made it work, even though they don't work, but then you don't know how to get out of it. So yeah, I don't think there is any perfect intelligence. I think every intelligence has his handicap. So I would like to recognize what's not really working in both of intelligence. Okay. From the autistic side, as I say, it's like this defense mechanism that activates that can make us a little bit defensive, even though it's not necessary. So it would be cool to avoid this mechanism creates in our mind, and this comes from childhood. So when we are kids, do not try to normalize us. Try to understand us as much as you can, and try to develop our potentials. Try not to have the arrogance to teach us the way we should behave, because we don't care about what you think. We think we are okay the way we are, and we don't want to be mentally raped. So if you understand this is a great thing. Second thing, understand that we do experience emotions deeply, but we do process them differently. We do process them through logic, which makes it maybe seem kind of detached, as if we didn't care, but believe me, it's not like this. Then I don't have troubles understanding the intention of the other person. So being autistic doesn't mean not being able to empathize with the others. I do have a really high level of empathy. This makes me able to help people who are suffering, especially homeless, people who struggle with addiction, mental illness, and whatever, because I'm really interested in psychology. So yes, that's a good skill. And I do understand nonverbal language, so I don't struggle with that. Um, so yeah, as I said, I just would like to be helped realizing my ideas, and I would like to be understood more, and actually understanding that the neurotypical brain works in a completely different way gives me access to the key that I can use to improve the communication. Of course, I don't feel always like making an effort, but because sometimes it's like quite dumb, like sometimes I have to make effort for things that should be understood straight away, and are not, because of a diverse nervous system. That's quite irritating. So this brings frustration. So when autistic people express aggressivity, or they become aggressive, it's or violent, it's because they are frustrated. So teach them how to work on their weak point to be stronger. So, for example, my weak point is patience. I don't have the patience, but I have to train myself to have the patience if I want to communicate and have a successful communication. So, most of the time when I talk with somebody, I don't have a goal. I just talk to somebody because I like the exchange, but I have to understand that sometimes the exchange is not all that matters, but sometimes I have to reach a goal. For example, if I go to a doctor, I don't care about showing him that I am faster than him and getting the diagnostic or whatever. I have to find the way, I have to communicate with him in order to get what I needed. So if I go to him and then I show him I am upset because he didn't understood what I had, and then I got it, and they make him feel stupid because I don't feel recognized, then that's not very helpful. So it doesn't matter what if he's lower than me or whatever. What matters is that I find the way he get it, like so that he can provide me what I need. Because I mean, even though I go what I need before him, I still need him because this is the way the world is organized. So we do get frustrated because we think that our logic is so clear that it should be understood universally, and that's wrong, because it's important to understand that every brain is diverse, and when you're faster than somebody else, it's not very helpful if you make the other person his stupidity. People don't like being told they're stupid, even though it might be true, but that's a wrong application of your intelligence that can bring problems in your way to communicate, and it can increase your frustration. So the goal is how to improve your interaction and how to make more bearable your sense of frustration. So, well, first of all, your logic is not understandable to everyone, even though it's very logical to you. And I know that's frustrating, but it is how it is. And this happens also because we do think through association. So we tend to associate a word to an image or to a sound and we do think like this logical connection that we make are part of being autistic, and other people who are not on the spectrum, most likely they don't think through association, but they do think verbally. So they are not capable to make these the association we are capable to make in our brain, and this might cause an issue. So you gotta understand upfront the logic of the other one to make your way to communicate accessible. And this is an effort that we both have to make. So I autistic recognize that my way of thinking is not common, it's like very unique. So if I want to have a successful communication, I have to find the key to make it more accessible to the others. And yes, this caused a lot of frustration, but I have to say that make my frustration more bearable, improve my life quality. So it has been worth it. And yes, so I would say that yeah, I'm done now. So I hope I gave helpful tips, and I hope I have been clear. If not, well, I'm sorry. I tried my best. You can contact me and ask me where I haven't been clear, and if you have questions or whatever. And even though I do sound like sharp, I'm not sharp. I just like wanna make sure you got the message. So I'm interested in being straightforward, so that I'm sure you got it. So yes, thank you for following me, and good luck. Kisses. Bye bye.